Welcome into a casual Friday. Pull it up at work. Check over your shoulder for your boss. Turn those hats backwards if you're wearing one. It's the DNVR NBA show on a Friday. What is up, everybody? And welcome in to a casual Friday episode with the homie, friend of the show, and host of Serbian Corner, Miroslav. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I feel excellent. This will be a great appetizer for Serbian Corner tomorrow at the same time, noon tomorrow on Saturday. I'm going to have some great guests. Again, an awesome game show once more. So it's going to be great. I'm really pumped about talking to you today.
You're crushing it, man. And I figured I'd borrow from your sort of weekend bump. I know everyone just wants to tune in to see the Serbian Corner. We're going to cheat, get you in early on a Friday because the fellas they're playing golf, Miroslav. Is it a holiday, Kale? Is it a work day? It's a work day, right?
I don't know. It's a work day for us.
It's a work day. I mean, some of us are at work, Miroslav, so I appreciate you coming and helping me out today.
It's actually some kind of holiday here. I've seen a lot of Serbian flags on the poles while driving through Serbia today. I have no idea what kind of holiday it is.
I'm really stoked about the World Cup run. Who knows, you know?
Maybe, yeah, it could be that, yeah.
Well, listen, man, we've got a full show today, including, good casual Friday classics. We should have time for a snake draft. We're going to have Miroslav tear out the Western Conference Finals. Talk to me about who the best players in the NBA will be in 2024. But first, as I was looking for segment one, I logged on today, Miro, prepared to see some Dame discourse. Didn't have to deal with that, but I saw we're still playing some of the hits. Jokic early retirement. It's back on the online conversations, if you will. We got the quote from Austin Rivers yesterday. We've got a tweet from Nikola Jokić, the maybe rookie of the year on the Nuggets Twitter scene with all the videos. And I thought Miroslav, that on this show we've joked around the topic enough times that maybe it would be doing everyone a service to pump the brakes on this early retirement talk. But I wanted to get your perspective and not just yammer on my own. Real quick, I'm going to set the stage. Austin Rivers, you may have seen the clip speaking to Bill Simmons on his podcast. He says there's no chance that Jokic plays in the NBA, Miroslav, at 35 plus. I don't think Jokic really gives a shit about American pop culture, trends, fame, and relevance. I don't see him hanging around. Obviously, Rivers has played with Jokic. He's been around the league. So this is a little different than just one of us talking about it into a mic. How hot of a take is that from Austin Rivers right off the bat?
Yeah, I think he had a pretty cold take, actually, because he had no idea how long Nikola's contract is. What he actually said was, okay, he has this super max contract right now, and he'll probably only have one more, and that will be it. If you get another one, that's for the next 10 years.
Right.
Like his supermax is just starting. He has 5 years on his contract right now, and he will be eligible at his age 33 for another 5-year contract. And I can see the world where he just stops playing at the age of 38 then, because, if the Nuggets offer him like 3 years, 45, because he's really old, he would say, like, I already have $700 million. Do I really need another 45? So I have to lace my shoes for 3 more years? Probably not. So I can see him going away at that point. But, I mean, would you give up like $350 or $400 million in 5 years, even though you already made like 400 in your career before that?
No, I wouldn't, Miroslav. And I'm glad you brought up the money, because we're talking about Jokic is on right now the second biggest contract in NBA history. I guess it depends on how you break it down after the Davis extension, but he's up there. And of course, he'll be due for the biggest ones when he signs his next one. we are talking about a truly insane amount of money, slightly different than I think maybe some comparisons I've seen are like Barry Sanders and stuff like that. And that's a running back in a sport that gives you CTE. That's not always guaranteed money. It's very different than signing an NBA contract, taking the money and not thinking twice. You know, shout out Chandler Parsons. So it's a different conversation. And I think you really have to think about the money and how big it is. I do want to ask you though, let's say 5 pepper scale, right? That's our scale here on the DNBA show. 35 plus, no chance. That's his quote. How hot of a take is that?
What do you mean? If he doesn't take another?
Yeah. So Rivers is saying, I don't think there's any chance he's in the NBA at 35 plus. And I'm asking you, how hot of a take is that?
It's muy caliente.
Yeah, I think it's up
5
there,
peppers.
Man. 5 peppers.
35, that's only 2 years past his current contract. I mean, Nikola is right now making commercials in Serbia.
I know, man.
Brand
ambassador for the Serbian gambling company?
You've been in Serbia. You know people are not filthy rich in Serbia. I mean, that commercial, it wasn't $1 million. It was probably way less than $1 million. And he's still doing it. Now,
sure.
You can say, I mean, sports players that get rich by playing professional sports in these parts, they usually do commercials, even though they're rich, because they will take that money and put it to charity, for instance. That's what most rich guys, athletes do in these parts. I'm not reporting that Nikola is doing that.
Sure.
But, you know, it would actually make a bit of sense for that. But he's not saying no to additional money. That's right. What I want to say. And $400 million is like, that's a lot of money. You can buy a whole of Sombor for that kind of money.
Well, that's the thing. We're going from being able to change life for your family forever to, I mean, your city, your country. I mean, you can talk about wielding real influence, right? And you know, whether it be politically or in industry. And I don't know if has those aspirations. Just that's a game changer to bring back to a life in Sombor and in Serbia if he ever were to fully return.
Now, if I would want to play the devil's advocate here, like the only way I could see him retiring after this contract would be if he wouldn't be on the Nuggets anymore.
Okay.
Like he's sick of everything and he's just moving away. And I don't see him doing that because we've seen how he meets the adversity. When Jamal got injured 2.5 years ago, he didn't quit on the team. He didn't ask for Tim Connolly to trade away Jamal in order to get some assets and try to push for the championship. He wasn't looking for the better situation for the championship, as Ugo Adetokounmpo said a couple of weeks ago. So, he is in a perfect situation on the Nuggets, as we've heard from the coaches from the KK Joker when we were together last year in Sombor. They just feel that Nikola is in the perfect situation. This is why I think his loyalty is unconditioned to the Nuggets, because Nuggets earned that kind of trust and faith from him. So this is why I expect him to stay on the Nuggets for the next 10 seasons.
I do think 35 isn't too early. It wouldn't be blasphemous. So in that sense, it's not that hot of a take. But the part for me that I did want to dig into is I'm not sure that this logic necessarily implies, like it necessarily follows that Jokic would want to retire simply because he doesn't give a shit about American pop culture, trends, fame, and relevance. Because it got me thinking about a player we compare Jokic to often, and that's Tim Duncan. These are two separate people, right, with two separate lives, and I'm projecting onto each of them as I speak. But Tim Duncan famously didn't care for any of that, right? Was not about the spotlight, would disappear in off seasons and disappeared quickly after he retired. Wasn't about being the face of the NBA in the traditional sense that a LeBron is. He didn't retire early, Miroslav. Tim Duncan played till he was 40. He played about 19 seasons because he loves the game of basketball.
Yeah, and he actually took a significant discount in order to do that. He could have asked for more money, but he didn't. He was there for the long game. And really, when you think about Jokic and his love for the game of basketball, and we hear these quotes about him watching, the coaches' seminars and talking
Right.
to coaches that are not even his coaches, but he just likes to share the knowledge and the little perks of the game. I just feel like, first of all, his body is in a really good place. He's never been, knock on wood, injured significantly in his career. So there's no real reason for him to cut his career short. And, his game is really good. I mean, it should be still good enough, even when he is 5%, 10% slower than
Right.
what
Right.
he is today. And I will tell you whose game will not be as good in the next segment. But regarding Nikola Jokic, I feel confident that he will be as good as he is today in 5 years. So why the Nuggets wouldn't give him a 5-year supermax?
I also
that
think
point.
even for a guy like Jokic, who seems to beat, to the march to the beat of his own drum, is that the expression? I think we overestimate what the equation is here. Maybe the circus is a bit inconvenient. What does he get in exchange? Well, he gets to play his favorite game for a living, and he gets to make upwards of $500+ million. These are good. This is good compensation for mild inconvenience. I would stress that.
Yeah, I guess I would take it. I would take it.
I would take it.
It's not easy. It's a hustle. It's annoying to train every day, but I guess it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. I also wanted to ask you, do we maybe overstate the extent to which he's not interested in fame or relevance? As you were saying earlier, maybe not in American culture, but Jokic has had no problem enjoying his life this year. Not a criticism, by the way, not even in the least bit.
Absolutely. I mean, we are overstating it because he doesn't want to be a part of American culture, because it is pretty foreign to him, and that's fine. I mean, we've seen him enjoy his time in Miami a couple of years ago with his brothers and with his teammates after a win against Miami. I think it was a regular season game. So, he gets to enjoy life on the other side of the pond as well. But, it's really easy for him to enjoy life when he comes back to Serbia with all that money he earned during the year. He can literally call up the biggest stars of Serbian, music and whatever, and
Be
just
wherever, whenever. Yeah.
and just say what he wants to do. So, yeah, I think he is enjoying life, and why would he stop doing that, soon enough?
I'm with you. And I know this is a bit of a tired topic for some people, but the top reason I wanted to address it is that I think even I, and on this show, in this chair, have in the past maybe not intentionally, but propagated this aloofness narrative that I think we all initially held, and it was part of what he presented, but I think eventually we misunderstood it, maybe took it a little too far, and or he's revealed more of himself since. But yes, he's aloof. Yes, he's a goofy guy, but we just can't sleep on the fact that he's more competitive, calculated, all of these things than we've ever really given him credit for. So as many times as I've joked, oh, he could retire early, I don't want people to be stressed about him retiring at 32, which I think I saw on Twitter today. That's insane. I did think maybe it was time for us to get up here and pump the brakes a bit, Miroslav, it's going to be. What about you? Are you retiring soon?
Well, I will probably retire when Nikola retires as well, So
Same.
I don't want to do this in my 60s. It's hard enough for me to stay up until like 11 o'clock in the evening, with my sleeping habits and the fact that I have to get up at 4 a.m. I'm not going to say why every night. So, it's just being old. So what you going to do? But what you said about us making up narratives about Nikola before, I think it was wonderful because, fan fiction is really fun.
Sure.
And he was the guy for fan fiction because he gave us nothing.
Right.
So when somebody gives you nothing, you are entitled to dream and just make up stuff about him and then check if you were right. And
after the fact,
we were wrong about a lot of stuff about Nikola Jokić.
You know what? We were right about a lot too, though. You know?
Yeah, that's right. I was wrong. For instance, I thought he would never be like a top 15 guy all time, like 5 years ago.
Sure.
But then, like 2 years ago, I actually, oh no, man, this thing is going on. By the way, I'm gonna steal your show for just a quick minute.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you think would it take for Jamal Murray from this point on to become a Hall of Famer? We speak about Nikola all the time and his place in the pantheon of greatest players.
Yeah,
how many more championships would the Nuggets need for Jamal to get the
I think Jamal could get there through titles I actually think he's a more dynamic player, but I'm going to think of a Tony Parker maybe, right? Like a tremendous player, but alongside Tim Duncan, you're like, okay, this is a career winner, like that kind of sort of how you think of him. It's weird because Jamal's regular season resume, like he's running out of time to put together a Hall of Fame career. But I do think if they win 2 or 3 titles in Denver and his counting, he's also a perimeter player in this perimeter scoring era. Like maybe he hits enough threes, his counting stat, he has enough total points and playoff success that he's in the conversation. But that's a fascinating question because I think you apply that question to Murray differently than anyone else.
We cannot fairly consider him a top 10 player in the league. We just cannot. I mean, we want to, but we cannot. And, how can you put a guy that's not a top 10 guy on the Hall of Fame? He needs to win, I think 4. Probably 4.
Yeah,
3
I
would
think
be borderline, but 4 would be sufficient, I think.
I also don't really... I have such a general understanding of what it takes to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I do look at Basketball Reference probabilities, but I wouldn't say I'm well versed in the precedent right off the top of my head. So I'm not. But that is a fascinating question for Jamal because I do think we ask some questions about him in a backwards way, in a way we don't about any other. SGA is showing us that he's this elite talent right now, and then the next part will be, can he do it in the playoffs? And we've already seen, can Jamal do it in the regular season, which is a unique question.
You know what's his percentage right now for the Hall of Fame?
What's that?
For Jamal?
What is it?
It's 0.0004%.
Okay, there you go. So that's what we were getting at with the regular season Hall case.
So it's not zero.
Right. Right. And by the way,
he can get there.
Yeah, yeah. And Oso Blanco, by the way, much more dynamic player than Tony. I guess I was just trying to think about a way a player's kind of legacy. Like we attach Tony Parker, rightfully so, to everything the Spurs did, and he played alongside this Tim Duncan kind of Jokic-esque figure in a sense. But that's a good question. On the other side of the break, Miroslav, I'm going to have you break up the Western Conference into some tiers. I made it hard for you. I set the tiers for you. You have to fit the teams into the boxes I've given you. So it's not really about science. It's about laughs. We'll get to it on the other side of the break. First, I got to tell you guys about Primo Hoagies. I don't think I'm going to be served my last meal anytime soon, but if I was, I really hope it's a sandwich. I love sandwiches so much. It's the most Northeastern thing about me. Football season is here, and big games mean big parties. Remember, that's not just about the game, it's about the experience. Do not settle for an average catering tray. Chips and salsa are nice, but people get hungry, especially if you're serving alcohol. Get them some food, like Primo Hoagies, the biggest crowd pleaser there is. Only the quality Thuman's meats and cheeses, sliced fresh to order, and served on Primo's award-winning seeded rolls, baked fresh every day. They're the best party on the block with Primo Hoagies. Locations in both Denver and Centennial. You can order your party trays in advance and online at primohoagies.com. It's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo, and I am actually sincerely hungry now after that read. BetterHelp can be your map to better mental health. Talk therapy is in my opinion, an essential part of getting yourself into a healthier place mentally. There are all kinds of strategies and emotional support structures and nets we all cast for ourselves, but you don't have to do this alone, and BetterHelp can be your map. You can reach out to licensed therapists, connect with licensed therapists from the comfort, convenience of your home. And if you don't like the therapist you've been connected with, reach out to BetterHelp. There's no problem. They will happily help you find a match for you so you can feel comfortable. Head to betterhelp.com/DNVR. Just answer a few questions about yourself and your goals. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/DNVR to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR. Miroslav, we are back.
By
Let's
the
pull
way,
up that. Oh, what's up?
Shout out the chat. The guys are crushing it. Wonderful comments in the chat section.
I know. I love it. I
Shout
love
out
it.
to
And
everybody.
hey, if you guys are digging the show at all, throw us a like. Adam, I'm actually paid based off like. It's a weird compensation system. So I really do need help. That's not true, but do throw some likes on this if you're enjoying it at all. And I think you're going to enjoy this next segment because I'm in the driver's seat for this one, technically as the host, but this is a Miroslav segment, baby, aka the good stuff. I've got some tiers for you here, Miroslav. We're looking specifically at the Western Conference favorites, or favorite if you only have one, contenders, tryhards, hardly trying, and trying to lose. There's a chance, Miroslav, that you may not use some of these categories. You don't have to, but they're available to you. Are you ready to get started, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Let's start with last year's 15th place team in the Western Conference. They've made some changes to the roster, like adding the number 1 overall pick, Victor W. Miroslav, the San Antonio Spurs, which tier do they belong in?
Well, first of all, San Antonio Spurs have been sucking for a long time now. And one thing that went out under the radar for them is that they have no guys on significant contracts. They have like their top paid guy is like $15 million per year guy. So they have been really, really stingy with their contracts, and that's why they sucked for a long time. They had good guys, good players in Derek White and DeJounte Murray. They traded both of them because they didn't want any big contracts on the books. Now they have Wemby, and they hope they have their Jokic now. Like they have their main piece, their franchise piece, and if they're smart, they are going to try to lose this year. Not by not playing good basketball. It's just the fact that they don't have a lot of experienced guys on their team, and honestly, their best guys shouldn't be older than Wemby. They should do the same thing that the Nuggets did with Jokic. All the guys, core guys around Jokic, are younger than him. I mean, KCP, he's a fifth guy. It's not a big deal that he is a bit older than Jokic. But other than that, all the guys are under his age. So I think the San Antonio should stick to losing for a couple of more. They're actually right now, I feel like they are like the 2017 Nuggets that did not acquire Paul Millsap. It's that kind of team.
That's interesting. I do think with Victor W., even if you think he's going to work out, like I think even if you're extremely optimistic, all rookies have an adjustment period unless you're LeBron. I mean, even he did though, right? And I think watching him in Summer League, would be ridiculous to have a take on his long-term potential based off Summer League. But I think it's fair to go, okay, would it take a while for him to figure out what playing through him in the NBA looks like, for the Spurs to figure that out? I say all that to say, Miro, I think they can play through their number 1 guy without sacrificing this trying to lose thing, right? They can still line up for another lottery pick. So I'm with you here. I think maybe they probably want the culture to start changing now, but they don't really need the record to change.
Yeah, and they actually don't have the players to change it significantly.
That's a good point, too. Man, speaking of culture and record, the Houston Rockets, they finished 14th in the Western Conference last year. They've added Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and the Thompson twin as well. Talented squad here. There is the Kevin Porter Jr. mess that they're navigating. So where do you see Houston here in these tiers in 2024?
I think, and Kale, don't jump the gun just now. They are going to be tryhards for like 2 months. But then they're going to move to trying to lose.
Okay.
Because they won't be good enough. I just don't. Do you know one interesting fact? Do you know who are the two guys that are the worst volume shooters in all of NBA?
Dylan
Like
Brooks.
two guys, Dylan Brooks and
Is it Freddie?
it's Fred VanVleet.
Oh boy.
I mean, okay, I guess the young team needs some veteran leadership, but I'm not. I think both of those guys are not signed to be on Houston long term. I think they're both signed to be trade pieces in future deals because it makes zero sense.
And they must be looking at some sort of trade because the way they're hoarding talent or talented assets or seemingly talented young players makes sense for for where they're at because they're too far away to think about fit. But I also think they have this problem of who's the guy and what's the direction, right? You pointed out Victor W as their Jokic. That's an easy call after taking him number one. For Houston, is it Smith? Is it Green? Is it now Brooks and VanVleet? Like they got to figure out which direction they're headed in. And I have a feeling they don't really have the first clue, but we'll see.
I agree.
Number 13. I'm going to make you do this before the inevitable here, Miroslav. The Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard still on the roster as of now. Scoot Henderson, part of the squad. Talks online about a Nurkic for Ayton swap. How do you see the Portland Trailblazers approaching and ultimately doing in the 2024 season?
Well, even if Dame stays, I don't think he's playing. He's going to make some story up about why he cannot play, to be on the record and not to lose all the money that he's entitled to. So I think they're going to try to lose really quickly after maybe trying for a month or so because their roster is clunky. They have so many guards. They are good, talented guys. I don't see a lot of defensive prowess in any of them. And, Nurkic is still over there to be, the worst kind of center behind the first line of defense that breaks every time. So, yeah, I'm just going to play safe here and say they're going to try to lose.
I think you're right, but imagine trying to lose after giving Jeremy Grant that contract.
Listen, I think it's actually perfectly poetic. If you're a team that wants to give that much money to Jeremy Grant, you're probably a losing franchise.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, just give Jeremy the ball. Detroit tried it, right? What's the worst that could happen? No, actually, I do really like Scoot Henderson, though, to be honest. Okay, I think I know where this squad belongs. This is going to be an interesting one to try to figure out just how good they are. The Utah Jazz, Miroslav, they finished 12th last year, but there were some great signs, I think, in terms of culture. They definitely weren't a losing org, although they finished with a losing record. I liked their approach. How do you see the Utah Jazz approaching and doing in 2024?
They're actually going to be better this year because now they have John Collins on top of all the young talent they already have. And I like that guy. He's like a 2010 guy when healthy and when everything is, optimal for him. Let's call it like that. And that wasn't the case for the last couple of years in Atlanta. So I think they're going to be tryhards this year. I'm not sure they're going to be significantly better than last year.
Yeah.
Or even any better. But they're going to try hard, and that just might not be good enough for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they were tryhards last year, but in a way that I kind of appreciate. They just weren't. They didn't really want to completely bottom out in a rebuild, and I think once they realized they had some talent and decent vibes, it seemed like that was embraced. Lauri Markkanen is really, really interesting to me. Like, that is a late jump, in a significant jump in a player's career. So is that something that's sustainable, that leads to winning basketball? It's all fascinating to me.
You remember, I told you this story. I always thought that Darko Milicic, for instance, could have been a much better player if he didn't go to Larry Brown and those Detroit bad boys of 2004. And, he was supposed to be the number 2 pick playing for the team that's actually competing for the championship. And then he got stuck on the bench for a couple of years and then eventually traded away. And then, of course, he lost interest in trying really hard. But at the end, he still had like a 10-year NBA career. I was always wondering, what if he came to Denver back then? What if Carmelo went to Detroit? It's possible that Darko Milicic could have got a much better career than what he actually had. And, it's the place you play. Lauri really needed a lot of time to wait in Chicago to get in a good situation in Utah.
Right. Okay, very interesting. Very interested to see what you do with this team, Miroslav, because I think in this exercise, they're the hardest team to figure out. I can't believe I'm saying this. They finished 11th in the Western Conference last year. They missed the play-in, and yet a potential MVP candidate, if not favorite, in Luka Doncic, alongside Kyrie Irving. Where do the Mavericks fall in your tiers?
I mean, this is more of a joke take. I don't really believe this, but what are they doing, man? Like, what is that roster? That? Are they hardly trying?
Listen, I kind of cheated with the categories I gave you here. I didn't give you a trying and not very good.
This is actually a very proper category for this team.
I think so. They're not tryhards. And would you call them contenders? They were 11th. They finished 11th.
They have a lot of things to prove this season, and until they do that, we're gonna have them in this category.
Man, I'm gonna victory lap because he isn't here and I feel safe. I remember like 4 years ago telling Harrison on the show 3 years ago, we're not gonna get scared of Dallas. We're not doing it. I think he came around on that. Okay, what else do we got? OKC, they finished 10th. Everyone wants to put them at like 3rd, dude. Give SGA the MVP. Is he Michael Jordan? Are the Oklahoma City Thunder going to win the next 10 titles? I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of hype around OKC. Fun team. Most people like what's going on there. What's the limit? Where do we put them here in our tiers?
They are really, really fun. They have a lot of exciting young guys. Shea is amazing. Shea should be considered like a top 8 guy by the end of this season, I think. We'll see if it happens, if it materializes. But as far as them being favorites or contenders, I don't think it's their time yet. So they're going to try really hard. Kale, you can put them like on the top of the on the top of the category.
Yeah, like kind of like vertically higher than the others. Yeah, perfect.
But I don't think they can go much higher than that.
I think this is right. Tryhards, and by the way, that's kind of a condescending label. I actually mean this. I honestly mean this in a much more earnest way. Like, they're going to try hard. They're going to be a tough out any given night that you play them. And I actually mean it earnestly, and I think it's a good application or good description of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
One thing that is wrong the most about the NBA is the fact that we have those 2 last categories. In any other basketball league in the world, there are no hardly trying or trying to lose teams because losing is not incentivized. If you lose, you're going to the 2nd division. You're not playing with the elite teams anymore. So, in Europe, if you're a tryhard, that means you're a normal team. So I don't think it's
a professional basketball team.
Yes, yeah. You're a professional basketball. So I guess being a tryhard isn't that bad.
It's not meant to be. I really didn't mean it to be. But I realize now, I think D-Line uses it to belittle the Lakers. So I think there might be some mixed messaging from the DNVR show here. Okay. The New Orleans Pelicans. God, can you imagine being higher on them than you were last year? They were last year's Oklahoma City Thunder, Miroslav. I don't know if you remember. The hot pick, the hipster pick. Now they are a bona fide mess, in my opinion. But how do you see their season shaking out?
Okay, I'm coming in hot. So they are gonna be tryhards for a couple of months, and then they're gonna be hardly trying.
Okay.
I'm gonna put them in the same position as Dallas.
I think that works because their two best players don't play very much. So, you know what I mean? At least Brandon Ingram. Let's be honest. All right, Miroslav, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll get back to we'll get back to your tiers that I've designed to make you look like a hater. So I apologize. I apologize for the blowback. Making content's hard, you know what I mean? You know what's hard? Hanging on to your voluminous hair, your luscious locks as long as you can. But you don't have to choose between better hair growth and your health with our friends at Nutrafol. They provide a whole body health approach for men that promotes healthier hair, no drugs, no compromises, no wondering what you're putting in your body. Just, yeah, you could look like Miroslav. I mean, why would you not? 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime. Don't get anxious about it. Just get Nutrafol about it. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering you, the listener, $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code DNVR. That's NUTRAFOL.com/men. Enter promo code DNVR. Take the first step to visibly thicker and healthier hair now. And we got to talk to you about our friends at Bet365, the absolute pioneers and dogs of in-game betting, live betting. And right now, DNVR actually has their very own custom bet that's listed with Bet365. So keep an eye out each week for new bets from us at bet365.com. Ride with DNVR and place your bets. If you haven't downloaded this app yet, they don't do it ordinary. Check it out for yourself. Sign up today and get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Download the app, deposit $10 and claim deposit $1 and claim your $365 in bonus bets as soon as you place a bet for $1. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please do gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And we're back with Miroslav, the homie, the one doing the heavy lifting, for doing the show for me today. I really appreciate you, Miroslav. Always a pleasure. Let's take a look.
I feel bad about New Orleans Pelicans being hardly trying because Shams Charania just reported that they are signing forward Kaiser Gates on a two-way NBA contract. He averaged 14 points on 55% three-point shooting in G League Long Island
stop the presses,
last
bro.
season.
Yeah, do you want to change? Do you want to move him?
Yeah, I guess they're much more serious than we thought.
Yeah, look at you. See, what are we doing here, man? We're just hacks. Okay, let's resume. Where were we? We just wrapped up with the Pelicans. Yep. This brings us to some friends, some old friends, or some enemies, depending on your perspective. The Minnesota Timberwolves did not have Karl Anthony Towns for much of the year. They did actually still finish 42-40, and they made it to the play-in, and they made it to that first round where they ran into the buzzsaw that is the Denver Nuggets. How will this season go for the Timberwolves?
I like a lot of their guys, but I'm not ready to call them contenders. I think they still need to fix that center rotation they have. They have 4 guys that are 6'11" or taller under big contracts. So yeah, they're gonna have to stay under diehards. Tryhards.
I like. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna change that. We're gonna change that to trying hard. When you don't have to do it live, but because we're just gonna be a little nicer. You know, we get accused of trolling too much on this show sometimes, and I just want to make sure. Utah, OKC, Minnesota, we see you. Zach Lowe told me, I was watching the TV, he told me that this is a team that's in the inner circle of contenders, Miroslav, and they did make it to the Western Conference Finals after finishing with the 7 seed. The Los Angeles Lakers, who were, there's one more note in here. They got swept in the Western Conference Finals. That's
right.
Yeah, they didn't win a game, but they were there. Where will you tier them here for 2024?
Okay, so this is how low I am on Western Conference. I think the Lakers are contenders.
I do too.
I mean, that's not a really good roster. So kudos to LeBron and kudos to AD for taking the team through series before being bust out to pieces. But they had a really good playoffs, and I mean they just need to have two guys healthy. And I guess the chemistry is rising between those two guys. So by the time LeBron is 42 and AD is 35,
yeah,
I think
maybe they'll have
even
it
better.
Yeah, just synced up. No, in all seriousness, though, I do think they are contenders. I don't notice they're not in favorites or favorite, and I'm with you there. But were they, in the totality of everything we saw, were they not a top 3 team in the West last year? I think they were.
I don't know, man. It was a weird year. It was
a weird year.
It was a really weird season. I mean, they didn't, earn the 3rd seed. It was really obvious that they played a really bad regular season. But at the end, what counts is the playoffs results. So kudos to them for making a long playoff run.
I mean, they really, as much as it's so much easier to say because the Nuggets swept them. So this is all, even if it's a compliment, it's ultimately backhanded. But they really did turn that ship around, man. That thing was looking disastrous midseason, and it was a different team by the end.
I usually say, when it's World Cup and like Serbia is playing, I don't want to say bad things about anybody, but let's say Serbia is playing Panama on the World Cup. We'll say, oh, that's a really nice team. I really like them. I really like the Panama team.
Yeah,
they play good basketball. They lost by 40, but it's a really good team. I like.
Yeah,
them.
Like a lot of heart out there, Yeah. that 6-2 run in the 3rd really showed me a lot, for sure. Okay, next team up. We got to keep it moving here if we're gonna get to our draft. Although this is a lot of fun. We're out of the play-in teams now, and we're looking at a team that, when the dust settled last year, I had no idea how good they were. And then they've really shaken it up even more since then. The Golden State Warriors, Jordan Poole is gone. Chris Paul is in. Potentially Dwight Howard is in. We don't have to talk about that. But where would you tier the Golden State Warriors in 2024?
I'm going to give them their last chance of being contenders.
All right. Okay.
So after this year, I don't think they will qualify for this. They might just, completely rebuild or something like that. But I think this is their last chance of contending and maybe making some kind of noise in the playoffs.
I'm with you. And I think sometimes you can just say, all right, legacy award, we'll put them in here. It was only 2 years ago they won. So I do think Steph is, he is kind of a Jokic figure, right? And you have to just say, look, why write him off until we know how that thing's going to go? So I'm with you. That's fair, I think. But I will say I couldn't figure out if that side of the bracket was good. The Kings, the Lakers, the Warriors. There's a chance maybe they were all kind of mediocre. I don't know.
I'm extremely high on Steph, but I don't think that's a very good team around him anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'll see. Okay, the Los Angeles Clippers, tryhards, right? They try so hard.
They're gonna try so hard to stay healthy this season, and they even might try hard being involved in many games. They're stars, I mean. So let's put them into tryhards, but we might put them into hardly trying. By.
Whoa! I thought you were gonna go the other way.
No,
I thought you were gonna go the other way with it.
I'm over with them, man. I'm over with the Clippers. I
Enough with the Clippers.
I cannot have this anymore. It's been 4 years. It's over.
Make them prove it. I'm with you, man. Okay, that's fun. You know what? That's just what you get. You can prove us wrong, and then we'll all deal with it after the fact. Okay, the Phoenix Suns, arguably, well, probably not even arguably, the toughest test Denver received last season, when Devin Booker set up camp in the realm of Divine for a little bit, although was arguably outplayed by Jokic. Anyway, the Phoenix Suns added Bradley Beal. Obviously, some good additions to fill out the rest of the roster. I won't run through them all. But how do you feel about the Suns?
The Suns are really good. They're going to win a lot of regular season games. They have a lot of firepower. They can sustain a lot of injuries potentially and still be good. And this is why they completely earn the status of contenders. There's only one favorite, man.
Whoa, spoiler alert. I thought you were going to put the Kings there. I'm with you. I think the Suns very much are contenders, legitimate contenders. But I also think when one team goes 16-4 like that and beats you down in game 6 like that, there's a lot. The onus is on the Suns to make a leapfrog a tier, I would say.
I think I'm super high on Devin Booker, and I hope that Jamal Murray uses Devin as his ultimate, motivation factor.
Yeah.
And because I think Phoenix Suns would be a better team with Jamal in place of Devin Booker.
Okay, so I was driving home with Adam Mares. You might know him. He's which show does he host, Kel? Well, he's DNVR. He works for us. But I was talking to him about that exact thing. What were we just talking about, Miroslav? I lost my train of thought.
Jamal in the place of Booker.
Thank you.
Phoenix.
And we decided that Jamal might be Bizarro Devin Booker. Right? Like everything Jamal is not in the regular season, it's easy, it's smooth, aesthetically, it's perfect. And then you get to the elimination games, and so far he's shrank, as have the players around him. Jamal, the opposite. And I do wonder if maybe another playoff series or two, the public perception starts to shift, despite the fact that Booker it looks so effortless. It's Jamal's the one getting it done when it matters most.
Yeah, but Jamal still needs to prove it in the regular season. So what you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? It's funny because to get an All-Star appearance, he does. He does have to prove it in the regular season, but also he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't even have to get an All-Star appearance if he doesn't want one. Okay, 3 teams left. Let's go to the 3rd seed out west, the Sacramento Kings. 7-game series with the Warriors. Again, still unsure if that was impressive or not, but how do you see the Kings shaking out in 2024?
They're going to try really hard.
Okay.
And I'm going to be happy for them. But I think they actually overachieved last season in the regular season and were put, to sleep in the playoffs appropriately. So I don't know. I mean, we've heard last year so many times that we are hyping up Nikola Jokić too much because he's basically, Sabonis with a little bit better shot. Come on,
just a little bit.
Come on,
just a little bit. Just enough that they guard him a little bit from 15 feet. Just a little bit. I know, man. I took no pleasure in that, but by the end, I was like, "You got to help yourself, brother. You got to hit the shot." I mean, come on.
Yeah. I kind of became a bit of a Sabonis hater just because of the irrational.
I know, man.
Fan experience. So yeah, what you gonna do?
I'm with you. I do think De'Aaron Fox is legit. I really do. But is that enough? Who knows? Okay, 2 teams left. The Memphis Grizzlies. A lot going on there. Ja Morant obviously will miss some time. Dylan Brooks is out. Are the Memphis Grizzlies still contenders, Miroslav? Were they ever contenders in your mind?
No, they weren't. But this is an interesting situation because Ja is going to miss first 25 games. Now, there's this story that the Grizzlies are better without Ja than with him. And that's actually a 2-year-old story because 2 years ago, they had some really good guys they don't have anymore, like Slow-Mo, like, what's the name of the guard? D'Anthony Melton. Mm-hmm. Those guys played really well when Ja wasn't there. Now they don't have those guys. They have a lot of young guys they're hanging on to, hoping for them to become good rotation pieces for the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to be anything more than tryhards or trying hard this season.
All right, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I think it's hard to view that they have to prove that they're in that contender leap, I think. I think they're better. I'm kind of with Anto there. Like, I think they're better than the other teams in trying hard, but I don't know if they're quite contenders. That's what's tough about these. I gave you boxes you had to fill here. And there's one empty box and there's one team left. So
before we go to the Nuggets, I just want to say one more thing about the Memphis. I don't think they're going to be significantly better with Marcus Smart than with Dylan Brooks.
yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
those two guys are not that different.
I think the Celtics are going to be worse though.
Yeah, sure.
Just got to
Looking
get that
forward
in there. Yeah, just that's the other end of that equation. That's why I brought it up. It was relevant, I swear. Okay, one team left, one empty box. They are the defending champions. They do have the best player in the world. Miroslav, I don't want to make you be a homer here, man, but are the Denver
Listen,
Nuggets
man.
the favorites?
So the Nuggets had the easiest possible path to the
That's right.
championship
That's right.
plus playoffs. So they have a lot of things to prove now, as we've heard from some national voices. But I'm still gonna go on a limb and say that they are going to be favorites for the Western Conference.
I think they should be. I think if you go 16-4 and your starting lineup remains intact and no one is suddenly 34 or something,
It's kind of a biggie.
it's and the other thing, man, is we'll take another break and finish up with a snake draft, but I wanted to ask you this. I mean, are there any moves that really shook you or moved you? Bradley Beal is significant, I think, right? Just you can't ignore the move, right? But
Sure.
Is it fair to say that no one clearly took this throne from Denver just via transactions?
Yeah, well, until the Suns trade for Yusuf Nurkic, they're not.
That's right.
And
real
then,
favorite.
but
Then
when
they're
they
ready.
get Yusuf, that's a different story. Then.
I'll tell you what, when you can draft Luka Doncic and end up trading someone else for Yusuf Nurkic, you do it. You do that 10 out of 10 times.
Of course. You should.
Okay, we'll do one more quick break here, Miroslav, then we'll come back and we are going to snake draft action stars. Are you ready for that? It's gonna be lit. It is college football and NFL season, and you might be trying to figure out, okay, I knew how to watch the Nuggets. How do I watch these college football teams, these NFL teams? Well, you do it with Fubo TV, 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Stream live from any device. College football, Pac-12, Scope Offs, NFL Broncos, NFL Network, Red Zone, baby, tennis, all kinds of good stuff. Watch your college football in the NFL with Fubo. Go to www.fubo.tv.com/DNVR. FuboTV.com/DNVR to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Get to watching what you want to watch on your couch, which is where you wanted to watch it anyway. Some of you might be relegated to the couch because maybe you got hurt at work in a car accident on a motorcycle and it wasn't your fault. You do not have to be stressed though, because I've got a phone call for you to place or a website for you to visit, coloradolaw.net, or just call 222-2222 to speak with Backus and Shanker. They will not charge you a consultation fee. In fact, they won't charge you to take on your case until they've won money for your case. That's something they do. They've won tons of money for over 25 years, over $1 billion for their clients, more than 30 lawyers and 100 folks on staff, so you always have someone dedicated giving you and your case the attention you deserve. Call them at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Shanker, they win. All right, let's do a little snake draft, Miroslav, because it is a Friday, and if everyone else gets to play golf, I get to snake draft with you. I feel like that's only fair.
I'd like to thank you for being part of this particular snake draft, because if you wanted me to draft like favorite Colorado food or something like that, that would be pretty embarrassing for me.
I thought about just completely screwing you over. I thought about some where you would have 4 Serbian answers and I would have 4 English answers and they'd be incomparable, but okay, it looks like I get to go first. Is that the case? I go first and Miroslav goes twice. Is that how this works? Okay. Lucky break. I'm taking the pound for pound #1 action star, the Tiny King himself, the greatest to ever do it, the ultimate inspiration. You're goddamn right, Kale. I didn't even have to say it. It's Tom Cruise. He's #1. He's still doing it. Tom gets me to the movie theater. It's a fact, Miroslav.
Yeah, that's right, and he would actually be one of my picks if you let him slide, but not that high.
Not that high?
Come on.
Not that high?
I'm an old person.
Okay, you are pretty old.
I still live in the past, so Tom Cruise is awesome because he is from my time and he is also from your time. So I guess he is like like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of action movies,
Yeah, that's right.
or LeBron. So I'm gonna go with two biggest action stars of all time, and my first pick is gonna be Sylvester Stallone.
All right.
Sylvester Stallone. The reason why is because he is the guy
Just do Stallone.
that has written the most movies I've seen in my life. So if you list all of the movies I've seen in my life, the most of them are written by Sylvester Stallone. If you can imagine that. He actually wrote most of his movies. And with my second pick, I'm going to take, the guy from Austria, governor of California. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. These are two 1 seeds for sure. They're 2 1 seeds in the four corners. There's no denying it. Okay, those are two good picks. I am going to go with a man who sometimes the advertisement for the film is just that he's in it, and you don't even ask any follow-up questions. My personal favorite is Man on Fire. I got your brother here. He ain't looking too good. Denzel Washington. Put him on the board.
Solid pick.
Man on Fire is so good. I'm gonna rewatch that shit tonight, dude, just because of this. With my third pick, this kind of just occurred to me. I was gonna go elsewhere with this, but two of the biggest action franchises ever. Legendarily nice guy, but on the screen he kicks ass. Keanu Reeves, Kel. I'll take him at number 3. The Matrix and John Wick. I mean, you can't. It's Keanu. You can't overlook it. I thought that was like a recency bias pick, but if you think about it, these are two of the biggest action franchises ever. I'm going to put Keanu on there.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know. The Bill and Ted thing.
Oh man, right. I'm gonna crush you. I'm so sorry for this.
That's okay. That's all right.
So okay, with my third pick, I'm gonna choose Bruce Willis.
Okay.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard. He's a guy that has played in the most movies I watched. I think I watched like 45 movies starring Bruce Willis. So basically everything he's ever done. Well, until like 10 years ago, for sure.
Another Tiny King, by the way.
Another Tiny King.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant guy. He actually takes time to go to stand-up shows where people will just blast him, like roast him, and he doesn't mind. He's a really cool guy.
Oh,
so
that's
Bruce
awesome.
Willis. Yeah, I watched some stand-up comedy with him as a target. Okay, my last pick. I have to make this good. I'm such an old guy. I'm gonna take Jackie Chan.
Oh, you son of a gun.
Jackie Chan is the etalon of action movies.
Okay, you know what, man? We have enough time. We might go multiple more rounds here, and we'll make sure Kale gets it after the fact. For my last pick, I'm gonna go back to another Tiny King. Which, man, if there's a big takeaway here from it, a lot of Tiny Kings in the action genre. Just throwing that out there. He's only 5'6". He's an inspiration to many. Let's go with Jet Li.
Yeah,
with Jet Li.
Really solid pick.
And I'm going to take another one because we have another 5 minutes, and this is fun. And honestly, I don't think anyone's here. I think I'm the only person working today, so I might be locked in the studio, so we're not going anywhere. I'm going to take another one. I'm going to go with, oh boy. I'm going to go with Clint Eastwood. I'm going to go with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that's
kind of a,
that's good.
You know, this is not like a draft of my favorite people. You know, this is a draft of best action stars, and I'm going to take Clint Eastwood. Oh, it was Jet Li, by the way, that I picked, not Bruce Lee.
So do I do one more or two more?
I have no idea. Just do one more, and we'll have 5 for each.
One more. Okay. If it's one more, I'm gonna take a guy with 4 names. He is a legend from Belgium, and his name is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Let's effing go. I'm so glad he's on someone's list. I'm so glad. Do you know why I thought of? Do you know the what's the action series that's coming? The Invincibles, where they keep mashing together these Frankenstein, disgusting casts of washed action stars. I loved that stuff when I was in the first one. I was still like in middle school, and they're still trying. But it just made me think like if we could assemble a squad of washed action stars to fight each other, in Invincibles 4. Good stuff.
No, you mean the Expendables.
The Expendables, thank you, not the Invincibles. Thank you. Giving them way too much credit for that. Okay.
Fooled me for a second.
Look at that. We filled a full hour without any help, Miroslav. Thank you very much for your help. Really fun talking to you. And go ahead and plug tomorrow's show one more time if you don't mind, brother.
First of all, thank you for giving me both Arnold and Stallone for this.
You're welcome.
Draft.
You're welcome.
It's really good.
An easy win.
Hospitality from you. So, guys, tune in tomorrow at noon. I'll be having my game show champion, double champion, Wade, coming back, and he will be challenged by two heavy hitters. One is Voya, and the other one is Ice Cave Guy. So you are not gonna want to miss next episode.
Star-studded panel. Miroslav, thank you so much, man. Enjoy your Friday night. Everyone in Denver appreciates you, buddy. Thank you all for listening. Throw us a like. Throw the show a 5-star review. Text Adam. Tell him I'm a better host than him. DM him. Email him. Whatever it takes.